Awesome. All right. Looks like we got a few people in here. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. That was really great. I'm so happy to see all of you guys here. And let's get started. All right. So, student engagement. So, what exactly is student engagement? So, student engagement is planning events that students will participate in and enjoy. So, within student engagement, it's as student council members, it's a lot about us finding things that everybody will enjoy. And in order to do that, we need feedback from students. So, here's a few ideas that I came up with in order to get that kind of feedback. So, one way that we can reach out is to clubs and teams. And I heard this idea from our virtual conference this summer, actually, where people did a captain's club to get all the captains from clubs, from sports to get together and talk about events and to hear ideas from other people, because as student council members, we do represent, but there's only so much that we know about everybody else. So to get everybody included and hear people's ideas is really great in order to plan events that people would like to show up to and engage in. Another way to make students feel involved is creating a Google Classroom. So at my school, we do have a school-wide Google Classroom where we post things like homecoming nominations, we do weekly reminders, we do voting on there, we do all kinds of other things, and people get to vote on Spirit Week themes, they get to vote on games that we do at assemblies and different things like that. So that's actually really helpful. And then another idea that we had previously, but it didn't turn out very good for our school in particular, is create a suggestion box. So having a centrally located box or an old locker that nobody uses or something for people to feel comfortable to just drop something off, and student council members can just check it out and look at it, and they could drop off ideas for games, like we could do themes for games, themes for Spirit Week, any kind of things like that. And right now we're working on songs for our homecoming dance this coming weekend, so we did that for a voting, so that's another good idea for that one. So I wanted to talk about this one because in Manitou Springs, when we had fall conference, they did an amazing job hosting this event. So obviously not everybody feels comfortable dancing around people they don't know or people that they may know but aren't super comfortable with. So an idea that they had was to have different events going on so that everybody felt welcomed and everybody felt comfortable doing something. So I love this idea, and previously at homecoming we did like a game room where there was like cornhole and things like that, but I also think this was a great idea to do sports and like sporting events and competitions and tournaments and different things like that. So I really enjoyed this, and I would love to do this at my school as well. So I thought this was an amazing idea, and it gets everybody involved and it helps for everybody to find something that they can do that they like. All right. So how can we as leaders make our events worth going to? So my school has this question every year with every event that we plan. So usually we do some kind of incentives. So gift cards, snacks, you could even give away like school merch. So we do, even at basketball games or football games, we always do a halftime game or competition where somebody has a chance to win something. So we are super big on advertising that kind of thing. And also just any kind of event, like if you wanted to throw an event that's usually not super big in your school, one way to get people there is give out gift cards or raffle tickets or things like that. Students are always interested in that kind of thing. So always learn from your previous events in order to better future events. So planning events is obviously not the easiest thing in the world, and it's always hard to make everybody happy. So a huge, uh-oh. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so a huge part about planning good events is learning from your past experiences. So always listening to feedback, listening to conversations about how people think it went. Um, Talk to students and listen to what they have to say about events, their likes and dislikes, and what they would have liked to see in the future. So a huge thing we did was randomly choosing people that attended our dance and asking them what they liked about the dance, what they didn't like about the dance, what they would like to see in next year's dance. So a lot of that feedback is super helpful in order to get people to show up to your events. And it's a really good idea to connect with people, even people that you don't normally talk to. It's super awesome to sit down and hear people's opinions on what they thought about the dance and what they want to see in a dance or in an event or just things like that. And it's super awesome to connect with your student body and just really understand them, because then it'll help you plan different events. So all right, so this is where I'm going to need you guys. So my favorite thing is to have conversations. So this kind of thing where I'm just sitting here talking, not my favorite. But this is where I want you guys to get involved. So I want to hear things that you guys do in your school to get students involved in your activities, to show up to football games, to show up to events that you normally don't hold. So if anybody has any kind of knowledge on this type of topic, please, if you feel comfortable, you can unmute your mic and we can have a conversation where people can join in. And if you're not super comfortable with that, you can always just type in the chat and we can talk about it. So if anybody wants to share questions or ideas, please go ahead.
Guys, feel free to unmute yourselves. And Lina, don't be afraid to put somebody on the spot either.
Okay.
So I'm from Golden High School, and we love the idea of having a dance and games, and then we've expanded that to like lunchtime activities in the courtyard, all pre-COVID, of course. But having the dual kind of things going on at the same time really gets more kids involved, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought it was a super cool idea. And when we went to Manitou Springs, you could really see everybody doing everything. And so that was really an awesome thing to see. And just to know that not everybody likes just one thing, and to have multiple events for students to participate in.
I guess I have more of a question. Sometimes people at our school feel some of our events are more directed towards a certain demographic. So I guess I'm looking for advice on how to make sure that the event or whatever it is aimed towards the entire student body and not just a certain demographic.
So I've definitely had experience with that as well in my years. I think a great idea is creating some kind of suggestion box, like I introduced in the presentation. So just somewhere for people to give you ideas so that they don't feel so left out or so like they're not involved. So I think that's a big thing, is just working with people to see what they want in your events. I know it's hard to get everybody involved and to get people engaged, but I think that's a really big part, is really understanding what is missing and why people feel that way. So even just sitting and having a conversation with them and being like, well, what do you think we could do better? Or what would make you feel more comfortable or not so singled out? So I think that would really help, and that you guys should definitely give that one a try. and to just see how people are feeling and just get an idea of what you can do better.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the question.
No problem.
Yeah, it looks like Sienna, looks like you had a suggestion. Do you want to unmute yourself and share with the group?
Yeah, sure. So at Arvada last year I was in Stuco. This is my first year. But they asked everybody in our school what are things we liked about homecoming, and a couple years ago they had a thing called, it was like field day for our high school, and we threw like balloons at each other, and it was just like the whole Stuco people organized it and asked everybody what they would like at the end of the school year. So they did that. But yeah.
Very nice. Anybody else want to ask a question or share some ideas with Lina?
Something that we did last year at Northfield High School is our basketball team had a rival game, I think against East High School, or it was either East or Montbello. But our school dipped into some of their funds, and the first 100 people that showed up to the game got like a free t-shirt that said it was like our whiteout game. So we had a theme, and then we also gave out t-shirts. And I think that like I'm pretty
Izzy, I think we lost you there.
Oh, I think your video muted your mic.
Oh, wait, so what did you hear?
We got right around the t-shirts. Right around t-shirts is where against East.
Oh, so yeah, our school passed out t-shirts to the first 100 students, and it really increased like school like spirit because everyone was like wearing the same thing and it looked really cool. So that was just an idea about how to get like so many students involved. I don't know. That's it.
That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, we definitely do stuff like that as well. On our rivalry games as well, we usually have the athletics office who buys shirts, and everybody can buy one, and they're only $1. So it's really cool to see, and especially because for basketball games, the basketball team will be wearing their warm-up shirts that are the same as ours. So it's like a really inclusive idea. And so, yeah, I really liked that. Definitely incentives to get people to show up and feel everybody included.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So as a freshman, I this is my first year of student council and stuff, and I can see that like in my grade that like no one turns like their microphones on or like talks, and like I just like don't know how to like get more people included, like to like share their ideas. So like what advice do you have on that?
So I definitely understand that, especially when I was a freshman, I felt super nervous to talk and to share my ideas. So I think definitely you being a freshman and being in student council, I feel like you have a lot of power to be able to talk to those students and to ask them. I would go personally and just get a few ideas from people, or maybe even make like a private Google Classroom with only freshmen, because we did that for our seniors this year, and it's helped a lot because obviously as a class you are a little bit closer than as a whole school. So I think even just asking questions for students to respond to, or events that they would like to see. And freshman year is always hard because not everybody knows all the events that we hold, and they don't know exactly what to expect. So I would even have a Google Classroom to just show what kind of events you're going to be holding. And I know this year's really hard with COVID and everything, but I feel like your other freshmen in your council, I think it would be great for you guys to get together and maybe plan some small events for you guys to attend to, obviously following COVID rules and stuff like that. But I think it would be really cool even if you just did something small, or just a Google Classroom to ask questions and keep them updated with things that are going on in the school, and just other things, like small things, because that's a huge thing about being a freshman, is feeling included, because you don't really know anybody and it's a new school and new events and things like that. So I think it's really important just to feel included and getting to know people. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, of course.
Anybody else have any questions or want to share some ideas with Lina? Lina, I've got a question then for you. Maybe either you or someone on the Zoom could answer, but what are some ideas that you guys have done? Maybe some schools, if you guys are doing just virtual learning, to try to, engage freshmen and make them feel like a part of the school, even though they may not have stepped foot inside the building yet this year.
I'm going to leave that one for anybody to answer, because currently my entire school is actually in school, so we don't have too many online students. So if anybody can answer that question, please do.
Anybody can answer that question. You've got a career in education. $50 million question.
So I see a comment here. At Arvada, we just created a virtual reality. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Like what do you guys do in this? And
yeah, so we had the bands group and the cheerleaders all dance to the same music, and we had teachers say their names for the freshmen and what their jobs are, and showed the people around the school who are new. And since most people are remote and others aren't, we can't have a virtual rally at our school now. So we just decided to do a virtual rally. And yeah.
That's pretty cool. What kind of site do you use to perform that?
I'm not sure.
It's definitely a cool idea. No worries.
All right, anyone else? I thought I saw a couple DPS students, maybe Northfield and East. If you guys, I know you guys are doing virtual learning right now. Anything that you guys are doing in Denver Public Schools to kind of engage the student body, even though you aren't in person?
I can say a couple things that we've been doing.
Sure.
We have like advisement time every morning from 8 to 8:30 about. So we've had a bunch of things through that. So we've had each of our advisement teachers check up with us one-on-one. We've also had our student council create slides for Hispanic Heritage Month. So we really tried to incorporate that culture and the celebration into like the slide deck that we would do. And then we're also, I think in the beginning of November, we are doing a virtual wish week, which I can't speak on the details of that, but I know that we are trying to make it virtual.
at East, we're exploring the ideas of some virtual things we could do, as well as in-person events, such as like a kind of a movie night type thing, socially distanced, wearing masks in the parking lot or something like that. Also, I think just we've done a lot of like pep rally, not rally, but just like Spirit Week type stuff, having people send in photos, featuring them on Instagram and whatnot. And I think in the spring, we kind of just made sure to get people involved by asking them for videos when we were trying to put together things to send out to other communities. We made like a video for all the health heroes and everyone on the front lines. We did that and trying to get everyone involved really, and reaching out to people that the whole student body and not just people's friends. But we're thinking of ideas of how to get people kind of to the school in a safe way as well by possibly doing like something with Halloween, like pumpkins or something like that, virtual or in person. We've thought of ideas, little candy bags, also just ways to fundraise at the same time and just kind of give people some smiles to see each other.
That's super awesome. Yeah, at the beginning of the school year, actually, my whole student council, we worked together with another leadership team, and we all came together and we went and delivered notes to all the incoming freshmen, which was really awesome to be able to knock on their door and just explain who we are and that we're so excited to have them at school and things like that. So I totally forgot that we did that, but hearing your story about coming together outside of school to be able to talk about that kind of stuff, I remembered. And so that's also a really good idea, is to, even if you don't want to do the person to person, just leaving notes at somebody's door or like just small things like that, I feel like make people feel really inclusive. So does anybody else have anything to say about engagement or ways to bring people together?
Yeah, so basically there's been some talk in our student council class about doing like a virtual movie night where we play a movie on the screen and everyone can just log in and watch the movie through that, and we've just been kind of talking about that, which would be kind of cool.
That's a super awesome idea. I really love that. My school's kind of doing that as well, but not exactly. So we're pretty much back at school, but now that we have sports, we're not exactly allowed to have a student section. So our idea was to live stream the game, and we have a huge blow up screen, and so we wanted to do like all of us come together in social distance and have masks and still enforce everything, but we would all be able to cheer together and watch the game, just not there. So I really liked that idea about having a movie night. And even virtually, I feel like that would be super awesome to everybody be watching the same movie at the same time. So I really like that idea. Ooh, we have some comments here. Let me read a few. Okay, so Northfield also had a drive-in movie planned, but it had to be canceled due to unforeseen legality issues with the district, but it's a great idea for all schools. Just make sure everything is communicated to your district. Yes, it's definitely a big thing to have proposals and get that approved. Ooh, I love this question. What type of things do your schools do to celebrate culture and diversity, both in person and or virtually? Does anybody have anything to say about that question?
Yeah, right now, like I said before, we incorporated different things for Hispanic Heritage Month into our advisory slide deck. And then we're also now, I think, trying to plan things for Dia de los Muertos, where we don't really know what that's going to look like yet. We've had talk about possibly making like a big recipe or a cookbook where different teachers and students would all send in their recipes, and we'd put it in like a document or a book or something, to get out to everyone, or just things that include food, like virtual cooking things. I'm not really sure. We're still figuring out some ideas, but we thought we'd do something around the food.
That's super awesome. That's such a great idea, and that's definitely inclusive as well. My school, we usually do. What did we do? For Hispanic Heritage Month, I was a part of the Hispanic Heritage Club in the Valley. So my dad and I actually went to a lot of meetings to plan events and get the community involved. But me being in student council, I definitely brought that to a school level as well and hung up posters for our events. We definitely did a lot of food and speakers and a lot of getting people involved in going to events and just understanding the culture and things like that. So it's definitely a great idea to get people involved in that kind of thing. Does anybody else's school do anything like that, or in different cultures, or just things like that?
Yeah, we partner with a lot of the clubs to just kind of either, I mean, really depending what it is, bring awareness or celebrate whatever it is, kind of, and just help to elevate it, I guess, to the whole school. I mean, all the clubs do a really good job, so I think we're kind of there just to bring more people to it and get it out there. But yeah, I think it works well to also just kind of we'll bring in like a club member to kind of help us understand more and just give us a new perspective on it as well, so that they can like tell us what they want to do, what their picture is, what their idea is, so they can make it happen and we can just be there to support them.
That's super awesome, and it's super important to hear other people's side of a story, or to hear how other people live, and to just get an eye opening. I know that last year for summer camp at CSU, we did a game where it really opened everybody's eyes to see how different everybody lived and how different people are and how different everybody is. So I think that's a great idea, just to get people together and to just understand that everybody's different and everybody's living different lives and everybody has different culture and different traditions. So I think embracing that is super awesome and it's super meaningful. Yes, Justin, awesome ideas tonight. And please, if anybody has any other questions or anything to say about anything, getting students involved or planning events that students will come to, or any kind of COVID events that you guys are doing right now, it'd be great to hear.
At Golden, we've started, so in the past, we've done like a lot of YouTube videos just for like events. So this year we actually created a YouTube account. And so for each event that we put on, or like we had our homecoming week a few weeks ago, and then we're doing like a Halloween week next week, we create videos and release them to the whole student body. Because like we have our Instagram, but being divided into cohort A and cohort B, it's hard to do announcements because a lot of things get lost in translation. So we make these videos kind of explaining what the event is, what we're doing at the events, like kind of the COVID precautions at the events, and then just like getting everyone excited for the events. And then we release them to the whole school and send out an email to all the parents and students with the links.
That's super awesome. So how is your school coping with the COVID? So you said that there's 2 different cohorts. Did you want to elaborate on that just a little bit?
Yeah, so we have cohort A, which is like last names A through L, and then cohort B, which is M through Z, I believe. And they go on opposite days. So like Monday, Wednesday is cohort A, Tuesday, Thursday is cohort B, and then Friday is all online, which has actually been really difficult for student council for us to be divided in half, because like we have it as like an actual class. I don't know how you guys do student council. So we've just been working on how to connect the two cohorts, and we've been doing that a lot through like virtual competitions. So we do a lot of like virtual Instagram competitions where people vote, and then we do a lot of competitions between cohort A and cohort B. So like for homecoming, we did a scavenger hunt between cohort A and cohort B, and tomorrow actually we're giving free burritos to everyone in cohort A because they won the scavenger hunt. So just kind of creating like friendly competition between the two cohorts to try to connect them and like connect their friends within them.
That's awesome. Do you guys get a lot of participation within both cohorts? Do you guys?
It wasn't great for for homecoming, but we're hoping for Halloween. We're doing like a pumpkin carving contest. We're hoping that as people, especially with the burritos tomorrow, as people see that we're like serious about the incentives that we're giving them and the prizes, that we will start to see more engagement.
Yes, I loved that idea. That's super awesome to get people involved and using incentives so that people know that it's real. Did anybody else want to say anything or talk about how your schools? I have a question. How is everybody's school working, student council working with online or in person? I just want to hear how everything is getting done because it's so different now. Does anybody have a topic on that, or can anybody respond to that question?
Yeah, at Arvada, so half of our class goes into remote, in-person learning, and there's like only 3 or 4 people, including myself, who is fully remote. So they like put up a Zoom meeting showing everybody in the class, and then we talk. But it's kind of hard right now because everybody is social distanced in the classroom, and you can't hear what they're saying. So we have to be like, "What are you saying?" And we ask them, and they're like, "Just turn on your computer, turn it up." And we're like, "We can't hear." So it's kind of hard sometimes to hear what they're talking about when you're on Zoom with a whole bunch of people in student council.
Our class is completely remote, as well as like our entire school. So we've just been having, I think, like close to an hour and 10 minutes meeting every Wednesday and Friday. And it's just a Google Meets call. And then we're hoping to do or like get cleared for like lunches in person, just so then we can like see how we communicate with each other in person. But because of like the new COVID restrictions, that might not be possible, but we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, when it's not super, it wasn't a super long time ago, but when we were all quarantining and things like that, we definitely did a lot of Zoom meetings and things, and it was obviously hard, and it's really hard to keep track of everything that's said and everything that goes on. But to help with your issue, I think it would be a really cool idea to have somebody who's either in class or online who can hear correctly to just update Google Docs so that everybody can look and participate in your meeting and in your council. So I think that would be a super good idea, just so even if you miss a meeting or something, that you can always go back and check your doc and just know exactly what's going on and ideas and different things like that, because student council is definitely a huge part of communicating. So I think with the loss of communication, having somewhere for everybody to look at or something for everybody to look at would be a great idea to help a little bit with that, instead of just Zoom meetings when it's pretty difficult to hear everybody. And what else was I gonna say? Okay, if anybody else has any other questions. At our value, we just created stucco outfits. Oh, that's super awesome. Shirts and sweatpants for everybody to wear. I really like that idea. Does anybody else want to talk about anything or share some ideas or some things that are going on or have any questions for me?
Lina, that might be it. Sounds like,
Okay.
unless anyone else has something to share. And if not, Lina, I just want to say thank you for obviously some great discussion tonight. You did a great job in engaging the group, and I think this is one of our more meaningful webinars that we've had. So great job. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite part to be able to talk with everybody, and because obviously this is the whole state talking, so we all have different ideas and different things going on. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk with everybody, and thank you everybody for coming in to listen and to participate.
Yeah, thank you, Lina, and thank you everyone that was on today for some great discussion as well. So we've got 2 more weeks of our webinar series. We'll send out the meeting invite to everyone for next week, sometime later in this week or early next week, and we look forward to having everyone back. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Thanks, Justin. Bye.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.